Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Fran. In this channel, I share knowledge and practical techniques on trauma healing and everything about mental health. If it is something that you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button because you're gonna get notifications every time I upload. In this video, I wanted to talk about victim mentality and fear of abandonment. So let's jump right into it. Almost all of us have this victim mentality when we have this fear of abandonment. Because when it comes down to it, what is abandonment? So when we're children, we might be abandoned, like our parents don't want us. But in adult to adult relationship, we don't get abandoned, we get left. But we still get triggered of this overwhelming, this unbearing sense of abandonment fear. Because we feel like in our perception world that if this partner, if this someone leaves us, we cannot survive. It's like our life source depends solely on this person. If they leave us, we will have no sense of identity. We will have no hope for the future. Like we cannot live and breathe for another day. And that's the horrifying thing to us because we don't know what the hell is wrong with us because in reality, it doesn't make sense. But we're acting as if we are children who are about to be left by the caregiver. That's why almost all of us who have fear of abandonment have this victim mentality because we feel like we're the victim that's going through the suffering, the consequences from this abandonment. But also it becomes our identity. It contributes to the cycle of fear of abandonment. Steven Stosny described it beautifully when it comes to victim mentality in relationships in his book, Love Without Hurt. He said that when we feel like we're a victim, when we're identified with this being, we're actually identified with how we're treated. We're identified with our damages, with our weakest points. That's why we feel helpless and hopeless because we feel like we're this damaged good. We're this person who gets tossed around, who is being unwanted, who is being devalued and repulsed by people. And another thing Steven Stosny said was that almost every person who has this victim mentality has this revenge motive. And this revenge motive does not only mean like we do this in our imagination level. It does not mean that we are imagining, well, this person is gonna come back one day and we're gonna reject them. We're gonna push them away just to show that they made this mistake, that we deserve something better or anything. Revenge motive makes us feel entitled. It's almost like we're adopting this narcissistic kind of identity as someone, well, you need to compensate me because I am the victim. So we expect people around me to compensate, to do things for us. And then when they don't, when they failed to meet our expectations, we hate them. We hold this resentment towards them. And we feel more like a victim. And we are abusing them like in a subconscious way. Well, if you don't do this for me, you're a bad person. So what's ironic here is that we were actually the victim. We actually had good reasons to believe that we are a victim. But when we're acting out of our victim mentality, we induce negative behaviors, we induce further negative reactions because we're coming out of this sense of entitlement, we're coming out of this expectation that someone should compensate for us. They should do this thing for us, or else they don't love us, or else they're going to leave us. We set the strict standards that they should stick to be in relationship with us, to prove they love us, to prove that we're not being abandoned. Out of this fear of abandonment, of course, we're going to constantly need reassurance from the person. We're going to holding on, we're going to grabbing the person just really tight in a way that it depletes their oxygen. It pushes them away because the imbalanced efforts we're putting to this relationship. Next, I'm going to discuss in detail the cycle of victim mentality and the fear of abandonment. For people who grew up in this dysfunctional family relating or who have this insecure attachment styles, it's very easy for us to pick the wrong people to let in our lives. We do this for two reasons. The first is that we're familiarized with this pattern and chemistry. We pick up the signs of a traumatized brain and we just bond it instantly because we feel like we know what we have went through as like we are resonating with each other's pain and suffering. We might be holding each other together through the hardship in life and fantasies like that. And second is that we have this repetition compulsion, which was brought out by Sigmund Freud, that we are trying to get ourselves unconsciously into the old patterns in attempts to remedy the situation, like how we did it as a child, like how we're trying to rescue our parents' relationship, how we're trying to improve the dynamics of the family. We don't have a very good reference point. We have never seen healthy relationships, how it works, how they're actually close to each other, how they are always like emotionally available towards each other, and they care about each other's well-being. We have never seen that, or we don't see enough. All we've seen is what brings us pain, is this emotional disconnection, emotional unavailability, abusive behaviors, abandonment, irresponsibility, instability, and everything that contributes to this dysfunctional relating. So if we haven't seen a very good model, it's very likely that we just settle. And it's hard for us to move on as well, because we don't really believe that if we leave this person who seemed to have the potential to give us warmth, engagement, nourishment, we don't know if we can find another one. And we don't believe that we are valuable enough, deserving enough to find a better one. So we'd rather stay in what's familiar, what's known to us, than risking not being able to find any sort of engagement. For people who live in this environment for years and years, we also cultivate another ability, the superpower to distort reality, to somehow find a way to convince ourselves that, well, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe if I change, things could be better. So we give up who we are to please, to comply, to be at other people's service just to show that we have value. Even before entering this relationship, we expect to be heard. We expect the imbalanced dynamic of a relationship. Either you're going to surrender to me, or I'm going to be controlled by you. So I need to be at the upper hand of this relationship. I need to be on control. I need to have you surrender to me so that you wouldn't be abandoning me in the future. So we started to play this little game and have our defense up. The more energy we're putting to play the game, to have control, to be protected, to not being hurt, the more we're getting dragged down deep into the relationship. As a result, when relationships don't work out the way we expected to, we feel betrayed by the false promise that we have and we expect others to have for us. We feel abandoned, and we're triggered of the wound of being unwanted, of being unlovable, of being undeserving. And we feel like a victim, and we confirm the original thought that, well, I am this unwanted person. Confirm our identity that we are helpless, we're powerless, we cannot do anything as a victim. So we're trapped in this forever. And as you can notice, there are a lot of negative conversations going on in terms of the perception of ourselves. And there's a sense of entitlement here. We feel like we're especially bad that those things happen to us. We feel like we're the special one somehow. So we become kind of narcissistic in a way that we're unique in our suffering. Only I am going through this incredible pain that nobody understands me. So in a way, we isolate ourselves in this victim mentality, and we indulge ourselves in this painful experience, and we trap ourselves in this self-sabotaging, shaming cycle. I think one thing we can do to maybe override this conversation a little bit is to really familiarize ourselves with the patterns that we engage in those kind of relationships, and how each step and how our response to each step is further strengthening the vicious cycle. It's going to be really helpful when we're consciously aware of it, and then we can know which direction we can look for healing and which direction we can devote ourselves to in order to break free from the old pattern and be healed from those traumas. Alright everyone, hope this video is helpful. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.